The people with the least financial security are often under the most pressure to look successful. That is why flexing is not always about confidence. Sometimes it is about survival. It is about trying to prove you are not behind, not struggling, not invisible, and not losing. Most people think flexing comes from having too much money, but a lot of the time, flexing comes from insecurity around not having enough. When someone feels like status can disappear at any moment, they may try harder to display it. The outfit gets louder, the car matters more, the photos become proof, the lifestyle becomes a performance. Because when you are not sure people respect who you are, you start using what you own to speak for you. That is the psychology behind the flex. It is not always about the object. It is about what the object is supposed to say. The watch says, "I made it." The car says, "I am important." The designer logo says, "I belong somewhere higher than where I started." And for people who came from less, that feeling can be powerful. It can feel like proof that the old version of their life is finally gone. But rich people who are used to money often play the opposite game. They do not need every room to know what they have. They do not need every stranger to believe they are successful. They do not need constant proof from the outside world. Instead of flexing harder, they often disappear further. They move into private neighborhoods. They use side entrances. They avoid public drama. They keep their family, their home, their money, and their plans away from the crowd. Because once you actually have something to protect, attention starts feeling different. Attention is exciting when you want to be seen, but attention becomes dangerous when being seen can cost you peace, privacy, leverage, or safety. That is why the rich often become harder to reach as they become more powerful. The phone number changes, the circle gets smaller, the calendar gets filtered, the public version of their life becomes less detailed. This is not because they are always better people. It is because the incentives change. When you have less, attention can feel like opportunity. When you have more, attention can feel like exposure. That is the hidden divide between flexing and disappearing. Flexing says, "Please notice what I have." Disappearing says, "You do not need to know what I have." One is trying to create status in public. The other is trying to protect status in private. This is why social media can be such a trap. It rewards people for looking rich, even when the image is more expensive than the life behind it. You can post the luxury dinner. You can post the hotel room. You can post the shopping bags. You can post the car keys. But the internet does not show the payment plan, the credit card balance, the stress, or the pressure to keep the image alive. Looking successful can become its own bill, and once people start applauding the image, it becomes harder to stop performing. That is why real wealth often looks boring online. The richest people are not always posting everything they own. They are not always explaining every room they enter. They are not always proving the level they are on. Because the more real the access is, the less public it usually becomes. Private money does not need public validation the same way unstable status does. This does not mean every person who enjoys nice things is fake. Wanting to look good is normal. Enjoying luxury is normal. Celebrating progress is normal. The difference is whether the luxury is adding to your life or replacing your identity. If the image requires constant proof, constant spending, and constant attention, it may not be freedom. It may be a costume. The rich disappear because privacy gives them control. People flex because attention gives them confirmation. And that is the uncomfortable truth about status. The person trying hardest to look powerful is not always the person with the most power. Sometimes they are the person most afraid of being overlooked. And sometimes the person with the most power is the one you barely notice at all. Because the highest form of wealth is not needing the world to clap every time you enter the room. It is being secure enough to leave quietly, own privately, move freely, and still have access when it matters. That is why poor people flex and rich people disappear. Not because one side loves luxury and the other side hates it, but because one is trying to be seen as successful, while the other is trying to stay in control of success.